Well, alrighty, gang. Welcome back to the Active Self-Protection Podcast. I am yet again your host, Mike Oliver, and I remain your favorite former Fed. And I don't know if you can hear that or not, but right on cue, all four dogs started to bark when I hit the record button. So that's just what we're dealing with here.
The Black Arch Protoss holster is the only hybrid-like holster that I can recommend. It does everything that a holster needs to do and is great for strong side carry. They're part of our holster consortium. Go check them out at the link in the description.
With me today is a new friend of mine. His name is Peter. He is from the East Bay area, central to Northern California area. He is a retired research analyst in IT and was in IT advisory services. He is married with 4 kids. Peter, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Good to see you, Mike.
Absolutely. So we had some technical issues, but we old guys stuck together and we got through it. We didn't have to call a teenager to help us with anything. So we're pretty proud of that. We got mics and cameras and all that stuff working. So what exactly is, what are IT advisory services? I've actually never heard that phrase that way. What does that entail?
Yeah. In the research area, I worked for a company that did research for both IT companies like HP, Oracle, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also advised large companies that needed to upgrade their computer systems every 7 years or so. And so they'd come to us and asking us, what's the latest software, servers, data center information. And so as we upgrade and spend millions of dollars, are we making the right decision? So it was advising global companies on how to purchase, what to purchase, and it was advising tech providers on what customers wanted as far as services, cloud services, telecom, software, etc. So it was a fun industry. I managed a team of about 20 analysts worldwide, traveled the world, advised governments and schools and businesses on how to use IT.
That sounds eminently interesting. I'm a tech dork, so I'm a consumer of YouTube channels of guys who review and unbox tech stuff. That's my dirty little secret that no one's supposed to know. But I tell you, I worked for the federal government for a little over 25 years. We could have used your services over there because we were always 4 generations behind whatever the average consumer was using, never mind like a major business. It really hamstrung us for a long time. When I started in 96 in San Diego, our office had a PC. It had one PC. It sat at a station, and it was like reserving time with the king to get 5 minutes on that thing to run a criminal history check or whatever.
Right.
And everything else was MS-DOS, green screens, and dot matrix printers. So that's where I started all the way through. Convertible laptop is the last thing that I had, which was a great idea, right? Mm-hmm. The idea being you could, pop it into a dock at your desk and use it like a desktop, and then pop it out and go in the field and write reports or do whatever you had to do. It's just that it was the biggest dog of a computer I'd ever had in my life, and it was wicked slow. And the battery, I'm not kidding when I tell you, I'm sure the government paid $800,000 per laptop because it's the government. Not to go on a tangent here, I'm sorry, but I have to get this out. I have to get it off my chest.
Not far from the truth.
The battery life was maybe 90 minutes on this thing, and that's just doing light tasks. I wasn't rendering 4K video, right? I was just writing a Word document for a narrative for a report. Anyway, right. So maybe in your retirement, you can go advise the federal government on how to buy computers properly because they're completely clueless. Did you ever work with the government or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah. The state of California quite a bit, and police departments all the time trying to get information on how do we store the data we record and what are we going to do with all this? And how often should we purge it? And what, those kind of issues.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of legal questions there too, because if, once you purge something that it's considered evidence into perpetuity. So digital evidence is it's not new anymore, but it was a whole new thing. And I'm sure there was a lot of hurdles to jump. I almost said hurdles to jump through. That's hoops. Hoops to jump through, hurdles to jump over. I'm sure that was a lot of work to figure that out because once if I interview you as a victim of a crime or a witness or a suspect, that's evidence, and I can't just throw it out willy nilly even after the case is done. Which is anyway, that's an aside.
That's right.
So with all that said, you live in the Bay Area. Is the Bay Area? I don't know how often you get into San Francisco proper, but is the Bay Area as ridden with homeless people and encampments and all the sort of thing that the rest of the country has been told that it is? Is it that bad, or is it overblown in the media, in your opinion?
My opinion is it is that bad. I'm extremely disappointed having lived here 36 years and to see the condition of San Francisco, I really stopped going up to the city about 10 years ago. My wife loves it. It is a beautiful city, but the homelessness and the crime and we were up there with friends. Yeah, just about 10 years ago, and decided to stop doing it. And had our car broken into and laptops stolen and cameras and all that stuff. So it is as bad. They're trying to clean it up. Now that it's an election year, they can look really good. It's like, oh, crime's down. We're doing all these things, but it's really, it's really disgusting, and that's sad to see because it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah, growing up, you heard about San Francisco. I grew up on the East Coast, and it was like this idyllic, wonderful place. You'd see a Dirty Harry movie, and they filmed them in San Francisco, and and the streets were clean. Everything looked very nice,
Oh,
and people, the birds were singing, people were laughing. Craigie, what was I going to say? Um, I do remember. It's kind of a talking point for people on one side of the aisle, but did they really like clean up the downtown part of San Francisco for a day or for a few days when the president of China came? Is that a true story? And like, because you didn't see a dirty bum anywhere on the streets at all. They just disappeared overnight. Is that
they
accurate?
they did. They came in and had teams of people moving them and relocating them, and then putting up fences so they couldn't come back. And so all this area for downtown, it was the Asia Pacific Conference, and they had all these leaders in, and yeah, they specifically cleaned it up, and they weren't hiding anything about it, saying, "Yeah, this really looks bad. We have to fix this." Well, it's like
Yeah.
we could have done that years ago. Why don't you?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a hard truth from a grizzled vet of law enforcement. That's me, by the way. The vast majority of people on the street suffer from mental illness and are drug addicts. It's both, and there's no super duper easy solution to the problem. But just letting them be all the time is not the answer. It just isn't.
No.
They need help and they need structure in their lives, but most of them refuse to go to a shelter. They refuse because there's rules at a shelter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They can't do drugs. They can't do all the other sort of stuff that they do.
Right.
So yeah, I don't have all the answers, but I certainly know that what has not been working has not been working. So we need to reconsider that. But yeah, like you said, unfortunately, it's an election year, so they'll clean it up temporarily, and then it'll. I mean, you've seen this cycle for 30 plus years. It'll go right back to the way it was. All right, enough about that
Yeah.
because that's depressing. Um, so your story happened about how long ago? In our pre-interview, you asked me if you should give some context from some video the context you didn't have in the middle of the event. And so you can start wherever you like, whatever you think helps the story get told in the most linear fashion.
Sure.
It was it at your home. So tell us who lived at your home, who was there, and what happened, and give us the whole 9 yards.
It was a Saturday, October 12th, 2019, so about 4.5 years ago. And it was just me and my wife. Our 4 children are grown and gone, 2 in LA, 2 in Mesa. And so my wife had been down in Phoenix visiting family down there, and
Mm-hmm.
was just coming home that Saturday about 8:30 at night, and was going to meet me at home. I was up at the temple, the Oakland Temple. We're members of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints,
Okay.
and I was up at the temple. Came home that night. We were going to try and rendezvous here around 8:30. So I was excited. I hadn't seen her all week and such. But what happened? I'll start with the videos. We're talking about the issues the Bay Area is having with crime, drug problems, and homelessness. The Bay Area Rapid Transit BART stopped in a few miles north. Well, they've extended it down through to Santa Clara County to meet up with the light rail system for the San Jose, Santa Clara, which then goes on up to Daly City and reconnects with BART. So
Okay.
you can get all the way around the bay. So long story short, this new system had just opened up, and based on the surveillance, this young man gets off the BART. We discovered this because he had all the tickets in his pockets afterwards. Walks down 1.5 miles from the station, randomly into our neighborhood, up my street, and finds a nice, cool, shady spot on my front doorstep, and decides, I'm going to sit here and sleep. So he immediately stretches out in the shade of my front doorstep and goes to sleep. I had a buddy dropping off a car for my nephew that I just purchased.
Mhm.
And so when he drives into the driveway, parks this little Golf, the guy gets up and walks away like, oh, I was just, looking around, not really here. So long story short, my buddy sticks the keys to the car in the flower pot in the front porch and leaves. and which that was a kind of standard procedure. It's a safe little place, and it's like, okay, nobody's going to take my car. It's only going to be there about 2 hours.
Right.
Anyway, so the kid sits next door at my neighbor's house. My neighbor's got what's called a sitting wall around his front yard, and he's just sitting there kind of watching the sun go by and people. And so when my buddy leaves, he goes back over to the front and starts looking around. He went through my mailbox, and he ended up going through all my mail, reading everything, finding the key in the flower box, thinking, went over, checked it, unlocked the car, got in the car, listened to music, sat around, opened the hood. He's a curious kid, just was looking at everything, going through everything. And he doesn't have any shoes on. He's walking around in stocking feet.
So real quick, let me interject. So you say kid, kind of describe him for us. Generally describe it for us. Did he look like a kind of just a homeless young person, or did he look more like a crook, like a gangbang or anything like that? Or kind of give us your impression of him.
No, he looked like a 22, 23-year-old college kid that clean cut hair, clean shaven for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And so it turns out, he was from Indiana, had been kicked out of his family home as a kid, just recently moved out to Oakland to live with friends he thought he could stay with, and they kicked him out. It turns out because he'd stopped taking his meds and was going a little psycho and neurotic and had bipolar, whatever he was doing. Anyway, so that was it. I wouldn't have known it was. I just thought he was kind of a lost kid. What do you need? Some help? Turns out he was quite lost, off his meds. Didn't have any place to go now, and was just wandering around.
Now all this information you found out or you discovered after the incident, after the fact.
That's
so right. So kind of walk us through the day of, as though you didn't know any of that.